think we should have like a cold open for these shows. You know what a cold open is?
Explain it to me
The
again.
cold open is like when you have there's like it's like an SNL. They have the skit and that the sketch, and then the opening credits,
Uh-huh.
or like you see it on television.
Oh.
Like it just goes into like a
Yeah,
scene
yeah.
and then goes into opening credits.
So like the scene where they say it's Saturday night.
Live from
That's
New
the
York, it's
cold.
Saturday.
That's the end of the cold open.
Yeah,
Then
that's
it
a
goes
cold
into
open.
the
Yeah,
show.
exactly. I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe we'll figure it out for the future or something.
Yeah.
It's Mixing It Up. On tonight's show, Brad Furman. Musical guest, Ben Miller. Featuring Josh Flanagan. And now, here's your host, Jay Glazer.
What is up, everybody? Another edition of Mixing It Up. I am Jay Glazer, joined as always by Josh Flanagan. Flans, good to see you on another episode of Mixing It Up.
I'm happy to be here as always, Jay. This is always the highlight of my day, so I'm happy to be back.
Yep, we got a good one today. First of all, big thanks to our announcer, Josh Leeper, for our intro, as always. And secondly, we are now officially the Nock-A-Mixon Hilltoppers, and I am pumped for it. I'm so excited.
It's a big deal. We've never had a mascot at camp, Jay.
Never had a nickname. We never had a nickname and mascot. Pay attention, folks, because something's coming pretty soon that I think you're all gonna like, which is really exciting.
Cool.
But we are officially the Hilltoppers. Hilltopper Nation, stand up. We are excited. We don't have a whole lot of time to just chat, Flans, because we got
not this episode.
Big show. Yes, big episode. Very special guest. So we're gonna get right into it. Our guest tonight is a Nock-A-Mixon alum, of course. He has directed such films as The Take, Lincoln Lawyer, starring Matthew McConaughey, The Infiltrator, starring Bryan Cranston. He's got a new film out now called City of Lies. It stars Johnny Depp and Forrest Whitaker. It is the story of the investigation into the Biggie Smalls case. It's awesome. Flans and I have both seen it. We love it. It's streaming right now on Amazon Prime, so jump on and see that. It's called City of Lies. Please welcome Brad Furman.
Skills.
First of all, I mean, thanks for doing this, by the way. Like,
dude, it's I love you guys. Whatever I got to do, it's no problem. I love camp. I love your parents very, very much. And some of my best memories were from that time and place in my life. And you know, I was appreciative. I know we were trying to get it together. I guess the fact that it coincided with the release of my recent film is maybe gives you guys something to talk about other than whatever. But you know, so like I said, it's your show. You lead, I'll follow.
When did you start at camp? How old were you when you started at camp?
9, I think. I think my parents and my aunt and uncle sent Michael Brown and I at 9. I was an oldest junior.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was in bunk 7 all the way at the left on the lower hill. Our history is unique, Jay, because our parents go way back. And my dad was your pop's lawyer when he bought the camp.
Right.
So I went to Nock-A-Mixon because my dad was involved, I guess, in, you know, Speedy's purchase of the camp. So as a result of that, they sent me there, and I assume that's why so Camp Sholem was the camp that my parents' side, they all went to. That's where my mom and dad actually met in camp. So they were big proponents of camp. They met at Camp Sholem. My uncle and Michael's dad. So I guess we were all going to camp, and because of Nock-A-Mixon and my dad's relationship with your pops, that's why I ended up going to Nock-A-Mixon. So we got sent up there together. And then a few years later, my friends from Lafayette Hill started coming. Yeah.
And we know how tight you still are with those guys, and running into Dr. Josh Barron all the time. He's
yeah, I mean, I don't, it's funny actually you bring it up because I'm so close with Josh. I'm not great at keeping in touch with everyone. It doesn't mean I have any love lost, but I'm not great. If you reach out to me, I'm good, but I'm not great at the guy keeping in touch. And Josh is amazing at that. But it's weird. I should attribute I'm sure he does because he's better at this, but I haven't attributed my friendship because it's been so long with Josh to camp. But yeah, we met at camp. So yeah, and he's one of my best friends in the whole world. I mean, he's the greatest, kindest human being on the planet. He's amazing.
Yeah, all the kids know Dr. Barron because when he comes up every summer and does a week plus as one of our camp doctors, and he loves to come during color war time.
Yeah.
So when he shows up, all the kids get excited because they know color war is going to be breaking.
Color war is about to break. There's any signs that color war is going to happen.
Yeah. Well, speaking of color war, because you helped us with our color war break.
Did it work out all right? We tried.
It worked.
Dude, it was amazing.
It was so great for those who weren't there, for those watching who weren't there, didn't get to see it. This video with a whole bunch of actors and musicians and athletes who helped us break color war, and you were huge in helping us put that all together.
Oh my God.
And it turned out awesome.
I'm happy you guys were happy.
Dude, it was
I wanted it to be great. So
you killed it. I mean, you sent us like 10 different people, Brian Cranston. I mean, everybody down there.
You asked me to help, man. If I'm all in, I do it 100%. I don't do anything in my life unless it's 150%.
I was curious how many of those people like had no idea what you were talking about when
I'm close, I think it's a mutual earned respect. So some of those people, I didn't give a choice. I just said, here's what you're saying. This is what you got to do, and they love and respect me. So it's the kind of thing where, somebody who works with me is like, why are you calling all these people about Nock-A what? Yeah. And I was like, nah, don't worry. It's important. I got to do it.
So awesome. The kids went nuts. It was great.
I'm happy it went well. I remember, so bunk 7 junior year, our best color war break was Michael Jackson.
Yes.
They had the limo was going. I don't know how old were you even born then? I don't even know.
Speedy, this is
probably like a baby.
I think.
Well, the Michael Jackson break was one of Speedy's absolute favorite breaks, Brad.
One of the greatest breaks ever because in camp, things become legend or mythology or rumors get spread and you can't discern truth from, in good ways and bad truth.
Yeah.
Like my rope burn stories, which are just ridiculously legendary. But
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm going to ask you about that at some point. But
it's one of my greatest life lessons, actually. But anyway, point in fact is these rumors get spread and it's hard to separate truth from fiction. And as the limo was coming up the hill, it was just a long stretch blacked out limo. And the word is that Michael Jackson was there. And as a kid, you think about it, you're 8, 9 years old.
Yeah.
You don't know, at 8, 9 years old, I thought Michael Jackson was there. I had no idea. So that's why it's the greatest color war break of all time, because you're new, you've never done color war. Every kid is running to Lumar Hall. It was insane.
We did an episode of this show with Mark and Jeremy Swarbrick, and they also brought up the Michael Jackson impersonator as one of their favorite.
I mean, yeah, it was huge. Plus the impersonator was dope. He was great. He was amazing. So and then it just all worked.
And then later on in I want to say 2002 maybe, we had a Britney Spears impersonator. So we recycled it, but we just
did it work as well?
You know what? Kids today, they're a little bit savvier. They don't.
Yeah, right. We were young. There was no social media. There was no.
Exactly.
Well, you brought up rope burn, so I'm gonna ask. I was gonna ask.
I figured it was coming, right?
It was coming. So I was a kid. I don't remember it, but there's the legendary story of you. I believe you were a rope burn coach, right? And you threw a towel in the fire during rope burn.
No. I'll tell you exactly what happened. Your dad can verify.
This is your chance, Brad, to set the record straight.
Set the record straight.
Well, because I think it's there's some slight, unfair things that have occurred here.
I'm sure.
We were, I guess it was my first or second year as a counselor. I'll assume second, but maybe first. I don't exactly remember. I had, just due to basketball, I had missed waiter year, which, everybody thought was crazy, but it was the right thing for me. And I missed the junior counselor year. So I only missed 2 years.
Yeah.
And which is why I don't know. I don't even think I'm on the 10-year wall. You got to tell your dad to give me an honor. But my point, moreover, was everybody was freaking out about whether they were going to be a colonel or general. I guess it was second year. I don't remember. Maybe. All I know is I felt that my friends, as much as I love them, were being very childish. It would be a nice way to put it, about what they were going to be for color war and who would get it. And so when it got into all this big debates about color war, because this really is how the Rope Burn story begins, I got very annoyed with my friends. I felt like it's so petty, like our lives and our success and who we are as friends. Like,
Sure.
I understand how important it is at camp, but at the end of the day, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. If you're a general, you're a general. If you're a, like, to me. So I went and had a meeting. What's the little office that your pops has in the middle of the
office?
Speedy's cabin, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
okay. So I went to Speedy's cabin. I went to Speedy's cabin. We had,
by the way.
oh, it's not there. Okay.
Oh, we moved it. Just sorry to interrupt. We moved it and we built a big theater right in that spot, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, so this is actually funny. I don't think I ever told Speedy this because I was a kid. I was 19 years old. So I went into your dad's office. I was very humble, but I also had probably pretty cocksure attitude. And I just basically said, Speedy, look, I know I'm not by definition your best counselor, but I think I'm one of the best counselors. And I said, I don't really care if you give me color war or not. If you think I deserve it, give it to me. If don't. Like, I just took that attitude. And see, what I didn't understand about your dad's psychology, I think there was a small part of me that was like, I thought like reverse psychology might work where your dad's like, all right, you know what? I like that he, right? But your dad's psychology is, well, look, if it's not important to him and camp's the most important thing in the planet, well, I'm not going to give it to him. So the irony is like, on one hand, there was tremendous truth in that I wanted to rise above my friends at the time. I wanted to be the bigger person and not have my life be defined by it. But on the other hand, I think I thought that I might outsmart your pops. But I think it was a multitude of things. I wasn't the best counselor from that perspective, so I wasn't trying to earn it. And your dad wanted counselors to work hard to earn it, and I wasn't that guy. And then when I said it wasn't that important, it was like I didn't get it. So the next best thing was that I got to coach Rope Burn. That was really, but in actuality, it's funny how life works. It worked out great for me because we were walking by where the skateboard rink is. And we were preparing a senior year for Rope Burn, our oldest senior year for Rope Burn. And we were doing all this crazy preparation.
Sure.
And I'll never forget, somebody said, knock on wood, it's good luck, we'll win. This is true. This is how funny camp is. And I knocked on wood at the boards at the rink and we lost. We lost Rope Burn. And to this day, I've never knocked on wood about anything. I refuse to knock on wood. Because I knocked on wood to win Rope Burn and we lost. So like, I don't ever knock on wood. I don't believe in the knock on wood expression. But so the point is that I was very excited because, and it all made, like at 19, when the color war stuff came out and I didn't get it, I wasn't upset. I made my bed, I lied in it, but I got to be the coach of Rope Burn. And it was cool because I really got close with the kids. I really had looked at Rope Burn from the perspective of like, it's not obviously about winning or losing. It's about the experience. Me as a young counselor, getting close to those kids in particular who I wasn't super close with because they weren't my bunk. And we went through this experience. I'm insanely competitive. It's in my DNA. Rope Burn it might have been one of the first years it was the dual fire. And the big thing was like, breaking tradition, don't do a dual fire. But obviously it was the beginning of like, in a good way, inclusivity.
Sure.
And so the double ropes actually was better than any Rope Burn I had ever seen. And one rope had broken. I think actually what happened was, it's so fitting for the story, the other team's rope broke and it looked like we were losing because they had the cherry and it was about to go. And then our rope broke. So it was head to head. And it was like really intense and I'm screaming, I'm going crazy. And in the middle, the kids are fanning the fire and we're trying to keep the fire under the rope. And one of the kids turns to me and he says to me, he says, can I throw, in the heat of the moment, he's like, can I put a towel in the fire? And I responded, I don't care if you throw yourself in the fire, just whatever you got to do. Like that was my response.
Of course.
So the kid put a towel in the fire. Subsequently, we ended up winning. And I think this is also interesting about my psychology. We were down at the oldest senior cabin after rope burn.
Sure.
And all the kids we lost were crying and upset. I was just sitting on one of the kids' beds. And I don't even remember who the kid was. I just remember I remember from my point of view. And I said something about having somebody on our team throw a towel in the fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I said it because I think in my heart, I knew we shouldn't have done it. And I knew it shouldn't have happened. But I think by saying it, I was releasing my guilt about it so I can move on from it in some weird way. Because I was a kid still at 19, you know? Yeah. And what happened was, which I never anticipated, another great life lesson. Well, the kid flipped out, but he didn't tell me. I think he went and told his counselor, and it turned into this huge thing that our team cheated, and through towel, it's always been exaggerated over the years. I really don't believe by any stretch of the imagination that towel that went in the fire had any bearing on the fact that we had won, truthfully. So subsequently, I guess in camp history, we lost rope burn. And not only did we lose it, well, because they took it away from us or whatever, we got deducted 2 points. And that was not only there was a time I had lost a softball. I was really pissed because it was my intermediate year. They decided, because I was a good athlete, but I wasn't the best baseball player. So I was never like on the A team. They were like going to make me the like D pitcher or C pitcher. And I was pitching the game of my life and we still lost. And I came back to the cabin and I was so angry, I kicked the bathroom door off the hinges. And so your dad deducted 2 points on me for that. And so like, it was not the first time in history of Color War that I had lost points for my team, because not only did we lose rope birds, they also penalized me so that was sort of my history. But for some reason, this story has lived in infamy. Yes, but it's funny, camp and life, they teach you these life lessons. And there was a lot of lessons about that experience at a young age.
That same summer, when you were a rope burn coach, I was the youngest senior boy. You were my night leagues coach in the CBA. And I remember you, never having a sleeve on any shirt that you've ever owned.
Yeah, I would wear sleeves back then.
Always had the guns out. And it was also the time of like Antoine Walker and Paul Pierce from the Celtics.
Paul Pierce, one of my favorite players ever.
Well, but Antoine had his little shimmy, right? Yeah. You remember Antoine Walker dance? And I made a basket in the first game, and I like did the same kind of thing going down the opposite end of the court on the senior courts at Senior Boys CBA. And you were just like, give me the shimmy, every time you would tell the guy, just give Flans the ball so I could score. And all you wanted to do is see me like do my Antoine, my Joshy jiggle.
I remember that actually. I love it.
What? And why haven't you brought back the shimmy? We play pickup and Sunday morning all the time. I have not seen the shimmy.
Well, I've grown up a little tiny bit.
I was very passionate about winning. I think if we lost, it was okay as long as every kid tried their hardest. But and also, I wanted to make it fun.
To you though, I mean, again, it was the lowest league in the senior division, and you would jump up and down, screaming.
Oh yeah, I don't like losing.
But that was you, and that was you at camp, where we just wanted to have so much fun because you were who you are and who you were at camp. And you were treating this like it was the most important game of, like the NBA Finals.
They were the most important games.
My man.
Let's talk about City of Lies. Like I said, Flans and I both watched it. I loved it. It's so good.
Thank you.
For anybody who's like we are kids and teenagers of the 90s and obviously grew up, listening to Biggie Smalls and Tupac, like you're gonna love this movie because it just hit you. But I wanted to know if you were like, did you want to get interested in this story just because it's a great story or because you're a fan, or is it a mixture of both?
I think my career in particular has been very defined by the larger sort of movement of the business. Like, I don't think I would have necessarily set out to direct my first movie, The Take, or even Lincoln Lawyer per se. I mean, I'm not always a big believer just because you know how to make movies, you should go make them. I think that a movie like Do the Right Thing, Spike's movie, was very defining for me as a young kid about like making movies that had a point of view or a voice, or that movie in particular really connected to me. And City of Lies was personal for me. It's not personal from the type of stories that I think I'm planning in the future to tell. I think it's going to demarcate a real shift in my career and the type of movies I make. But like you said, Jay, I'm a huge fan of Biggie, huge fan of Pac. And as a result of that, I was so blown away by the amount of corruption. I was so blown away by the responsibilities of the institutions that we rely on in our system and our society. In this instance, the LAPD, the city of Los Angeles, how they were complicit in Big's murder. And I was really in shock with all of it. And I felt to have the opportunity to honor Christopher, Biggie, to honor Pac and pay homage to them because they were so inspiring to my life, to lift Miss Wallace up, who I'd gotten really close with, and help fight for justice and truth for her. These were real honors in a lifetime. And I felt like if I could create the opportunity or be given the opportunity, in this instance, we really created it to tell that kind of story. That's where I want to head more in my career.
So stemming from the book, is that how the story of Russell Poole, who Johnny Depp plays in the movie, is that really how it kind of came across your desk and kind of started you to see it?
My boy I played college basketball with at NYU, Don Sikorsky, is a very successful investigative journalist, documentary filmmaker. He brought me the Infiltrator book. He gave me the Labyrinth book. Labyrinth thereby became City of Lies, written by Randall Sullivan. But they gave me the book and I loved it, but I couldn't get it made, as I said. And then eventually when we were able to, which was post the Infiltrator, it was an opportunity I felt that I couldn't pass up.
And going through your time in the entertainment space, you've directed some of the biggest names in the industry, from Matthew McConaughey, Bryan Cranston, Ben Affleck, and Justin Timberlake, and even in City of Lies, Johnny Depp and Forest Whitaker. How do you handle directing so many different personalities and styles, and what challenges kind of come from that? Because it's a really tough gig.
It was all due to Nock-A-Mixon. No, look, I mean, here's the best part of all of this is that, growing up outside Philadelphia, we went to the Andorra movie theater, we went to the Plymouth Meeting Mall. Sure. I didn't really think making movies was a living. I just saw how hard my parents worked. My cousin, Michael Furman, who went to camp and subsequently passed away when I was 19, that rocked the foundation of my universe. And I had already made the decision, because I went to Emory to play basketball. I got hurt. I didn't play. Transferred to NYU for film school. And Shea Berry, who was the assistant varsity coach, JV coach, had watched me and recruited me. And so he called me up through another kid who was on the varsity team, Stan Eli, and he was like, "Are you going to come play?" And I was shocked. So they had asked me to come out and be a part of the team, which was huge for me. I needed that, the camaraderie, the friendship, the transferring to a new school. That was all really, really huge for me. And, look, I pay homage every day to the life of my cousin. His records are those are all his records behind me. And he was a legend at camp. I mean, an absolute legend, my cousin. And it was a unique way. I've used his life to inspire me, and try to turn negatives that we can't control into positives. And you realize, in answer to your question, with these big movie stars, they're just people. They just have lives. Some are more spoiled than others. Some have ego issues. Some are most are pretty insecure. And, there's a facade that's put out there, but there's a real gift and talent that comes with acting. And I love actors, and some of my closest friends are actors. And, the process of making movies is the most rewarding for me, not typically the finished product.
Yeah. You mentioned this movie's a adaptation of the book Labyrinth. So, and I know you've done other films that are adaptations of books. So when you're doing a movie that comes from a book and it's also based on a true story, but you're also making a movie, you also want to make it entertaining for the people watching it. So how do you balance, making a film that's true to the book and the true life story, but also keeping it entertaining for the people that are watching?
Yeah, I mean, so Lincoln Lawyer, The Infiltrator, City of Lies are all book adaptations. Lincoln Lawyer being non-fictional, being fictional, but inspired by non-fictional events that Michael Connelly researched. So that's pretty straight and forward, but I wanted to pay homage to the book. I wanted to pay respect to why we were there. I think a lot of people use the book as a diving off point. I thought there was a real movie in Lincoln Lawyer that I was excited by. When it came to The Infiltrator, Bob Mazur, who wrote the book, is still alive. And I said to Bob, like, look, just sit by me on set, go through every bit of the process with me. And if I'm doing something that isn't truthful, because I'm doing this through you, you're the vessel within, I'm the vessel within which you're telling the story. But, I'm really just a conduit in all this. I mean, you're the guy. I didn't live this the way you lived it. I didn't experience it. So I made the movie hand in hand with Bob. And then City of Lies was really different for me because it was a movie where I didn't want to fictionalize anything, because what I realized is we did, because when, you're making a movie at a certain amount of time, you're amalgamating, but I didn't want to fictionalize things, because what I started realizing when I went on the internet prior to making the movie is that we live in a world today, that's what fake news is, where anybody could essentially say anything. And then that spreads like wildfire, like some of the things we talked with camp. And then you can't discern truth from reality. Camp's like a microcosm of the real world. That's why the lessons you learn at camp apply. And ultimately, the reality of that was I felt so strongly that to debunk the nonsense that was on the internet and the lies on the internet, I had to make a movie a la like a JFK I was a journalist doing a reinvestigation of the case. So to simplify it, there's a book, it's almost 12 years old. I ended up linking up with a man who sadly passed away since the movie, Sergio Robledo. He was the lead investigator on the Wallace case, the civil case against the city. He was also Russell Poole's supervisor. He was my eyes and ears. He gave me the redacted files. He gave me the depositions, all the stuff that I'm not allowed to see. I wouldn't even talk about it, but I talk about it now because he's passed and I have the blessing of his family. Sure. But I did a full-blown reinvestigation of the case, and then I built the movie not just around the book, but the full-blown reinvestigation. And so I realized that I wanted to put a narrative out and use Depp and Whitaker as vessels to carry the messaging. I was like, there's no bigger way to get the messaging to the world than through heavy hitters like Depp and Whitaker. So that was sort of how I did that movie. And that movie's very unique, Jay, because it's like 98% truth, and the 2% that's not are just some stuff that I amalgamated.
Yeah.
Maybe 95. I don't know. Whatever.
We'll keep at 98.
Still an A.
There you go.
I had this question, and I figured how many times you get to talk to the director of a movie you watch. So I had this question. There's a lot of baseball in this movie. Mm-hmm. And Flans knows I'm a baseball nerd. I love baseball. The connection I drew, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong, or if it's just open interpretation. The connection I drew, one of the things I love most about baseball is there's no clock. Mm-hmm. So you can't run out of time. As long as you got an out, you're still in the game. And that's the connection I drew to Russell Poole. The investigation is ongoing, and as long as he still has leads.
I think I need to hire you on my next movie, Jay.
I'm just really into it.
Tell your parents you got a new job, buddy. I might need to use that. I also might be sending you a ticket out here. I have to tell you, this movie, it's a roundabout way that I won't bore you how I ended up on it. But a guy I knew, Christian Contreras, wrote the script and developed it. And so by the time I got it, they amalgamated the three kids of Russ's into one, and they made him a baseball player. And, actually, because truth is typically more interesting or stranger than fiction, his kid was actually a baseball player. Mm-hmm. And so that's sort of how that happened. But that's a very deep, sophisticated perspective that you have, truthfully. because I think that is very, very true about baseball. And it's a great analogy for Russ Poole. And if people are thinking that, then I'm going to credit Jay Glazer, because I didn't come up with that one. It just happened to be there and I rolled with it. But it's, I've done a million interviews and nobody said anything to me like that. So obviously your love for baseball and your affinity for these things gives you a deeper perspective.
We have a segment at the end that we do rapid fire questions. We call it the lightning round. First one right off the bat, favorite canteen item of all time.
Oh, the Chipwich.
Chipwich.
Foreigner with the chocolate chips. The chocolate Chipwich for sure, which was not always common.
But here's why you know that the Chipwich is number one all time, because if you ask people like their favorite movie of all time, or people sometimes tend to shy away from giving like an obvious answer. They try to pick something under the radar. Nobody has any shame in just saying, oh yeah, Chipwich, number one.
Well, I haven't even thought about a Chipwich in 100 years. So the fact that came to mind shows the impression that it left on me.
Best Lumar Hall moment of all time.
Well, I mean, you would think it'd be a sporting event or watching John Michaels play basketball or something, but really, Michael Jackson breaking that color war, it was amazing. Yeah, I mean, that was like unbelievable.
Obviously, you know a lot about film. You're a director. What's the best summer camp movie of all time?
I guess Meatballs.
Thank you.
Right?
That's what I would say.
Yeah, Meatballs.
Red Hot Summer.
Wet Hot American Summer is a good one.
Oh, I mean, there's good movie, but not Meatballs. It's just
Meatballs. Bill Murray. You can't beat it.
That movie's classic.
Absolutely.
Right.
Let me hear this next one.
Oh, all right. The last one of the lightning round. If you were casting the movie about Camp Nock-A-Mixon, who would you cast to play me and Flans?
That's your hardest hitting question of the day, Furman.
That's a tough one. I put you on the spot.
Is that just particular to me, or is that like a common lightning round question?
No, that's a special just for you.
Gosh, you guys are funny. Well, since I know Timberlake,
that's an easy one.
Jay can take Timberlake.
Yeah. Oh, I'll take that. All right.
Nobody's ever compared me to Justin Timberlake in any facet of Justin Timberlake.
You dance like him, maybe. I don't know.
No, you're right. I do have good moves.
Flans, I got a great one for you.
Vince, I've
spent time with Vince Vaughn. He's got tremendous stature. I was going to make a movie with him. He's funny. He's witty. He's a great dude. I love Vince Vaughn. So Timberlake and Vince Vaughn. There you have it.
I'm with it.
Not too bad, guys. I think you both did all right.
Yeah. I thought maybe Seth Rogen for Flans, but
Brad, you're the best, man.
Honestly, yeah. Thank you for doing this.
Love you guys so much. I appreciate you having me on. I'm proud of what you guys are doing. You need anything, I'm always here. And I'm very proud to be associated with Nock-A-Mixon and my history with it, which is why the color war was very important to me. And that's why, I wanted the break to be great. If I could be a part of that, it was also honored.
You nailed it. It couldn't have been better. Brad, can you give us Let's Go Hilltoppers real quick? Just so
I was never a Hilltopper. I'm like a former. I don't know. Oh,
give
man.
Me a Hilltopper. Come on. This is for the Chipwich.
All right. Listen, for all the future kids out there, let's go Hilltoppers. Let's go Hilltoppers. Let's go.
Let's go, Brad. You're the best.
Hey, I'm gonna get you some Hilltopper gear. I'm gonna send it out to you.
Send it away. All right, guys. A lot of love. Talk to you soon.
Thanks again, Brad. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Big thanks to Brad Furman. That was so much fun talking to him. But Flans, we're not done.
No, we're not. This is an entertainment episode galore.
That's right. We have our first ever musical guest right here on Mixing It Up. Please welcome musical guest Ben Miller.
Drop in the ocean, a change in the weather. I was praying that you and me might end up together. It's like wishing for rain as I stand in the desert. But I'm holding you closer than most, 'cause you are my heaven. I don't wanna waste the weekend. If you don't love me, pretend a few more hours till it's time to go. As my train rolls down the East Coast, wonder how you keep warm. It's too late to cry, too broken to move on. It's just a drop in the ocean, a change in the weather. I was praying that you and me might end up together. It's like wishing for rain as I stand in the desert, but I'm holding you closer than most, 'cause you are mine. Heaven doesn't seem far away anymore. No, no, heaven doesn't seem far away. Heaven doesn't seem far away anymore. No, no, heaven doesn't seem far away.
Yes. Yes.
Well done. Well done. Bravo.
You are the man. Ben Miller, future superstar. We
Yeah.
knew him when.
Yeah.
Hey, that is it for this episode of Mixing It Up. Thank you for watching at home. Huge thanks to Brad Furman for joining us as our guest tonight. And hey, the countdown is on. Camp is right around the corner.
We're counting down the days.
Counting them down. We'll see everybody at camp, and we will see you on the next episode of Mixing It Up.